Anderson with Outdoor Bird Supplies and the maker of the Sugar Shaker Nectar Maker here in Suwanee, Georgia. Today we're going to talk about hummingbird feeders. I like to say all the time, what's the difference between them? Or some of them are pretty and some of them are practical, and we're going to go through the different types. Start with this one right here. It's really pretty. This is made by Evergreen. And it's a nice hummingbird feeder, nice small holes. And why that's important is the bees can't get into the nectar. So there really shouldn't be a lot of bee activity with something like this. But although it's a beautiful feeder, and the nectar guards come out relatively easy, they just screw out. Your issue is it's going to be very hard to fill. I mean, if I got a bottle like this of nectar, yeah, I'm going to be able to fill it, or I could put a funnel in it. The sugar shaker may be a little bit harder to get nectar in there, but all in all, very pretty, but if you're in a hurry, not very practical for getting it filled up quickly, or for that matter, how are you going to clean it, right? So I can't even get my finger in there to clean it. So this one could be a little bit tougher, finding the right bottle brush that would actually get in there. Also notice it doesn't have an ant moat, and we'll talk about that right here at this second. I screwed that back on. So ants like sugar water. So a model like this would need to have an ant moat on top. Water goes in here, nectar goes in here. So as long as there's water in here, the ant can't crawl past the water to get to the nectar. So another disadvantage, it's hard to clean, hard to fill, but it would be very good against the bees. Okay, here's another beautiful feeder. This was actually hand painted by a lady out in Arizona. I see her like once a year. The hummingbird is actually going to stick his tongue right down these little flower ports right here. And so people always ask me, how does the hummingbird know this? There's nectar in here. Well, he's just hunting all day long for flowers and nectar. So he's eventually going to trip over it. That's what it comes down to. This is an easy fill. You're just going to take the rubber cap off and fill it from the top. And then you would fill it just basically to below the water line, nectar line would be down in here. So this one would be easy to fill because the hole is big enough. Any type of funnel or anything to fill this. So this would be nice and easy. The top goes back on it. It's just a little rubber top that just clamps right on. So real easy to fill. You're going to need a bottle brush though to clean it. And another disadvantage of this particular type is that you really can't see inside of it if it is dirty and how dirty it actually is. Now, this model again will also need an ant moat on top. So we got to keep the ants from getting into the nectar, and the only way to do that is to put water in our little ant moat here. So very pretty unit. Not real bee proof, but it because the hole's a little bit bigger, but I don't anticipate too many bees to get on it just by the way it's built. Just a little hard to clean. This one is pretty and practical. I actually use this one at the house. The advantage of this model right off the bat, it has two big ones that stick out. The first one is these little yellow tips here. See how small they are? The hummingbird is going to stick his tongue right down the hole, but what can't get at it is bees. Okay, so there's no reason for a bee to be anywhere around this because there's no way the nectar is going to get on here. Even if the thing was swinging in the wind, the nectar is not at the top of this hole right here. The nectar is at the level that's down in here, so there shouldn't be any bees around it. The second thing is it's super easy to fill. These little red leaves just come right off and you're left with an empty jug. So I just take them off, fill all three of them, and stick the leaf back on. Cleaning is almost just as easy because I can use my finger. I actually take my finger and clean the inside of these, each one of them. And then I use a little bottle brush for the nectar. We sell very small brushes that go in the holes about this size. The only disadvantage of this particular unit is it needs an ant moat. Okay, so there's no built-in ant moat with this one. The other disadvantage is your price is going up as well. So this is made by Perry's Enterprises, and they're out of Tennessee. And we've been buying from them for years. Excellent products, all very pretty. And so we'll move on and talk about the next one. This is one of my favorites. This is made by a company called Best One. They've been making it since the 1970s, same family. What I like about it is it just comes completely apart. You're going to stick your bottle brush down in there to clean this particular unit. And then these two pieces come apart as well. And then what I use is a very small bottle brush to go through these little ports here as well. So that's your three pieces. If any one of the three were to break, you can get replacement pieces, so that's nice. So the way you work it is you're going to fill your nectar straight up into this little bottle. It holds about 8 ounces. There is a bigger unit as well, but this holds 8 ounces. Fill it up. And then you're going to take the bottom, put it on top, and then you just twist it just like this. So when I'm walking out to my pole out in the backyard, I'm carrying it just like this. And as soon as I get to wherever I'm hanging it from, I just flip it over, and then I hang it from my amp moat. So the disadvantage of this particular unit is it doesn't have an amp moat. The advantage is it does get some bee activity, but you won't get bees floating inside your nectar because the holes or the ports for the tongue of the hummingbirds are so small. So excellent unit, inexpensive, easy to use, but you will require an amp moat to actually go with it. They're essentially the same. They even look the same. They even come apart the same way. We're just basically going to take it off. This is made by Classic Brands. And Classic Brands is now owned by Perky Pet, who owns just about everybody. But if you notice, the pieces come apart just like the best ones did as well. So it's easy to clean out. And then a bottle brush fits right in here. Very easy to fill. No big deal with that. And so, so from a practicality standpoint, it is kind of nice. And then again, I'm going to fill it right here. I'm going to screw my top back on. When I get to where I'm going, I'm going to flip it. And notice I don't need an amp moat, okay, because it has a built-in amp moat. Water is going to go in here. Nectar went into the bottle. And so since we have that, ants can't get to the nectar. So that's a great design. This particular unit it's not a flaw, but you see these little flowers? Over the years, they're going to crack and break. And then they do make replacement flowers, but unless you remember what model that you have, you're never going to get the right one. So we struggle from a store standpoint to get the right flower for these particular models for people. So just bear that in mind. A couple years down the road, these are going to break, and then you're going to have an issue trying to get replacements for that. Not very expensive, easy to use. The ports are a little bit bigger, so you will have some bee activity around this. But other than that, we sell a bunch of these, and customers tend to be pretty happy with it. This one's made by Aspects. Again, a very practical unit, easy to use. Has a built-in amp moat right here, so water goes in here, and then nectar goes into the big port. So water in here, nectar in here. The advantage of this particular unit, besides having an amp moat already built in, is that it can't leak. Okay, so there's no leaking going on. However, the ports are kind of big, so in this case, you could get bee activities. In fact, the ones I use at my house, if I'm not using the bee guards or the nectar guards, you can actually get bees floating in here. So if you're worried about bees attacking your hummingbird feeder, then there is a trick with this one. This comes with these little stanchions right here, and the company makes a bee guard that you can fit right on top of here. And what that will do is it seals the ports, and so we can't get any nectar up here, and that stops the bees. So in terms of price, this is a mid-range product, a little over, it's probably around $30. So it is getting up there in terms of a normal regular hummingbird feeder. But this particular company, Aspects, can replace anything. So they got a great warranty on this particular product. If something was to happen to it, getting a replacement part is not an issue, and it's usually free. In conclusion, I want to say that all of these work. I mean, maybe we have to put an amp moat on top of some of them, but it really does come down to pretty and practical. Some of them are very hard to fill and very hard to clean. They may be inexpensive, but you may not want to go through that. Some of them are easy to clean, have built-in amp moats. The bottom line is they all work. Just what do you want for your particular situation? I'm David with Outdoor Bird Supplies and the Sugar Shaker Nectar Maker.